Information, the rhythm of texts. A text is language that is functional. Texts are organized in waves of information at the levels of whole text, the paragraph, and the sentence. Big waves organize texts, middle waves organize paragraphs, and small waves organize sentences. This hierarchy of information, this rhythm of text, is called periodicity. Big waves at the level of text function to meet a discourse goal, a purpose. The text that you can see here is a biographical recount. Its goal, its function, is to inform about the life of someone. We expect the text to first tell us about the person that we will be talking about, and then organize the text through somewhat significant events in the life of this person. Then, in the body of the text, it proceeds in big waves of information that we can say that are separated by paragraphs. These paragraphs in the body of the text are all on a different phase in the life of Francisco, the young champion for our planet. These big waves are organized by conjunctions at the beginning of each paragraph. At this last bullet tells us conjunction organize texts. Conjunctions are words or group of words that connect other words, sentences, or ideas in a logical way. You can see the conjunctions at work in this text. As you can see, there's a chronological logic in the text, as conjunctions help structure the text through time. From an early age, then later on, just when he was 8 years old, at the age of 11, and then after being in exile in Barcelona due to death threats and intimidation. This text is about the life of a young environmental activist from Colombia. If you want, you can stop the text, the video right now, and read the text. In this kind of text, these big waves are organized into stages, in this case, the orientation and the life events stages. The life event stage, it's organized into different phases which correspond to different significant events in the life of Francisco. As you can see, early life, popularity, first book, exile. This is important because when teachers know how texts are structured, then they are able to teach them to students much more effectively. At this level, we go from big waves, text, to middle waves, paragraphs or phases. Middle waves work at the level of paragraph or phase. The first paragraph in a biographical recount like this one is called the orientation, and not only tells us about the person we will be focusing on the rest of the text, but it actually predicts the topics to be presented in each subsequent phase. The orientation, in this case, tells us that Francisco Vera is a young environmental activist. In the rest of the text, each significant event in the life of Francisco related to his activism is connected to a different paragraph or phase. The event is announced by a conjunction of time, as we saw in the last slide, and then it's elaborated with examples and evidence. Let's take a look at this structure. For example, this second paragraph, which corresponds to the first phase of the life event stage, early life, announces the event with the conjunction from an early age and tells us how he was surrounded by nature and how he started caring for the environment when he was little. The rest of the phases follow the same middle waves pattern. So to summarize, as you can see so far, big waves organize text in big chunks of information such as stages and phases. Middle waves organize the paragraph or phase by previewing the specific information for that phase and giving examples. But just as in big and middle waves, it is important what comes first and what comes later. In little waves, in sentences and clauses, what comes first and what comes later is also very important because it organizes little waves of sentences. Let's take a closer look at the sentences and clauses. Before we look closer at little waves, remember that there is an important difference between a simple sentence and a complex sentence. A simple sentence consists of a single clause, which represents a single activity or process. Let's read the third sentence. It says, due to his dedication and leadership in environmental issues, he was appointed as a goodwill ambassador for the United Nations. The third sentence is a simple sentence because it only has one single activity, was appointed. In contrast, the first two are complex sentences because they each include more than one single process. The first sentence tells us who Francisco is, and in this case, a relational process of being, and tells us when he was born, a material process of being born. The second sentence also includes two clauses because it has two processes, a relational is in he is the founder, and a material process led. Each of these processes represents an activity. In the second clause, we have he was born on July 3rd. He is the theme and the rest is the new. Notice that even when the theme is not present, it is considered theme anyway, because it is understood that we are talking about Francisco Vera. Francisco Vera is a young environmental activist born on July 3rd. We have a tacit subject, he, and when the theme is not present, in this case he, is considered a theme anyway. See if you can figure out the theme and the new in these two clauses. I'll give you a minute to take a look. Remember that the theme of a clause is everything up to the process. The process is in red and including the first person or thing, and the rest is the new. That's right. In this case, he is the theme and the rest is the new. In the second clause, a partner of a global organization Friday for the Future is the theme and the rest is the new. In stories and chronicles, like this biographical recount, the themes of most clauses are people or things. As you can see here, Francisco Vera, he, a partner of the global organization. In these genres, the identities of the characters in the story or recount are often presented as the starting point of each clause. So all these are themes, and the rest are news. Because this is the pattern that is most common, then we call these themes in pink unmarked themes. Unmarked themes. Unmarked means ordinary or common, is the normal configuration. But let's look at this simple sentence. It is simple because it only has one process. The one process is was appointed. As you can see, in this case, sometimes a time, a place, or other circumstance comes before the person or the unmarked theme. In this case, the first part, due to his dedication and leadership in environmental issues, comes before the person, the unmarked theme. His dedication and leadership was the cause for him to being appointed as a goodwill ambassador. In this case, we have theme 1 and theme 2. Again, a place, a cause, or another circumstance could come before the unmarked theme, he. In this case, is a cause. The cause of why he was appointed. The rest is the new. So, to summarize, here we have an unmarked theme, which is uncommon, marked, and an unmarked theme, he. It is marked at the very beginning because it's uncommon or special, and the he is unmarked because, as we already saw in Chronicles, the most normal thing is to have a person or a thing as an unmarked theme, as the point of departure of the sentence or clause. Okay, now is your turn. Exercises. In these exercises, you might want to stop and write and do these exercises. What you need to do is to identify the unmarked themes in this exercise. These are sentences or clauses taken out from different texts that are all in Martin Matheson and Painter 2010 book. So what you need to do is to follow the models provided and underline the topical theme in each clause. So for example, here, he was fat and bunchy. He is the unmarked theme. I am real, said the little rabbit. I is the unmarked theme. The clock was still saying 5 minutes to 11. The clock is an unmarked theme. See if you can figure out the rest of them. Write them and then highlight or underline the unmarked themes in each of these sentences or clauses. Exercise 2 is to identify marked and unmarked themes. So what you need to do is to identify the themes and classify them as unmarked or marked. As you can see in the example, one summer evening, the rabbit saw two strange beings creep out of the bracken. In this case, we have a marked theme. One summer evening is the marked theme. This denotes time. The rabbit will be the unmarked theme. You only have to identify the first one. By this time, they were getting near Ero's gloomy place. By this time is a marked theme, and they is unmarked. Number 3 in the example is, I shall have to go on fast thinking walk by myself. I is unmarked theme. Take a look at the underlined themes and select marked or unmarked, as it is the case. Once again, write them in a piece of paper and try to do this exercise by yourself. This will be very useful for your quiz. Here are the answers for the first exercise, and here are the answers for the second exercise. The idea is that you try to figure out by yourself and then compare with these.